What it do, y'all? It's your girl Makeup and Travel, and for today's video I am bringing you Indie Week day number 2, and for today today I'm going to be reviewing the Lick and Lash Beauty Spice Palette. This is a palette that I talked about in one of my must-have must-gags, and yeah, I don't really have much precursors. Let's just get into this baby. Now, this palette does come with the sleeve, and the sleeve and the palette are identical both on the front and the back. On the back, it tells you that it is cruelty-free. It has a 36-month shelf life. It is a recyclable packaging. The net weight is 2 grams for each shadow, and you get 36 grams for the total palette. It was made in the UK. I know I haven't said this. This is a UK based brand. Oh, just kidding. I'm sorry. It's distributed from the UK, but it's made in China. Let's see. There are no parabens, phthalates, triclosan, and sodium lauryl sulfate. Child, I don't know. I know what parabens are. I know what phthalates are. The other two, child, I don't know. There is talc and mica in this formulation. There is silica. And that's about it. Everything else is basically dyes. Now, you do get these. Let's get a true color. You do get these 18 shadows in the palette. As you can see, this row is mainly purples, this row is oranges and yellows, and this row is basically pinks and orange and reds. If you saw in that must-have, must-gag, I assumed that this was going to be an all red palette. So just imagine my surprise when I opened up this palette and I was like, oh, there's only 3 reds. Fun. But anyways, I got this palette. It was interesting, and I still wanted to do a review for you guys. I thought this was a good thing. I did purchase this palette for around, what was it? 35 euros, which is about $50 USD. So now what I'm gonna do is just scoop back a little bit and give you guys some live swatches on my arm, and we're gonna try and do our best to get this all on one take. What I'm gonna do is just go top row, middle row, bottom row, and I can go ahead and say the names as I swatch them. So this one is Bubblegum. I'm just gonna go ahead and build Bubblegum up. Okay, next one is Taffy. This one definitely feels rougher, and I could not get as good of pickup on my. Hey guys, so my camera stopped on me, but all I did was watch the first 3 shadows. Let me lower my brightness so that you guys can see it. Okay, so this one is Bubblegum, this middle one is Taffy, and the last one is Hey. Now let's keep going. Next we have Rose, and this is an extremely pigmented red with, I would say, a pink undertone to it. Next is Girlfriend. This one is slightly rougher than Rose, and I would say this is more of a true red. And then lastly on this row you have Garnet, and this one's slightly hard to pick up, so I'm just gonna go ahead and go in for a second color. So this is the top, ooh Lord. So this is the top row right here. Let's go into the middle row, and it's gonna be, first one is gonna be Portland, and this one is extremely pigmented, extremely pigmented. Next we have Bumblebee, and next we have peach. We have 3 more in this row. Let's roll up my sleeve a little bit more and try and at least finish this row. So now we have salmon. Next we have mustard. And lastly we have fire. So these are the shades in the first 2 rows. I'm just gonna go ahead and switch over to my other arm for the last row. For the last row, we're gonna go ahead and it's all purples basically. So let's start off with the top color, which is brick. And this is a, wow, okay. So this is a purple, but I would say with a redder undertone. Then we have mink. And this is a more mauve-y purple. Then we have a yay. And this is definitely a darker, this is definitely a darker, richer purple. Then we have boom. Then we have Bobby. And lastly, we have Rocky. So these are the shades in the purple row. So just in case you wanted to see them together, these are the 2 rows, or these are all 3 rows in this spice palette. Now, as I said earlier, this is my 2nd day in this indie week. So if you have not seen the first one or my previous indie week, I will link them up in the cards throughout this video. As you can see, the swatches were not the best on all of these shadows. And honestly, I find that to be something that does not discourage me from using a palette. Ew. Something that does not stop me from using a palette. Just because it doesn't swatch well on my arm doesn't mean it's not going to apply well on my eyes. As you guys can see, let me bring the brightness up so you can see my eye look. As you guys can see on my eye look, it looks beautiful. It's pigmented, it's blended. I like it. I mean, I really do love it actually. So for me, just because they don't swatch the best on my arm doesn't mean this is not a good palette. I don't think I have very much to say. I told you guys how many. Oh, and they did give me a batch number in case you guys care. It is SP01. So in case maybe a different batch is better, I don't know. But yeah, overall, I will be giving you my overall thoughts at the end of this video. If you're interested in seeing how this applied and how I got this eye look, then just keep watching. Alrighty guys, so like I said in the intro, I'm going to be using the Lick and Lash, you guys can't see, I'm going to be using the Lick and Lash Spice palette. I honestly don't like how this came out. I liked how it looked before I put the liner on there, but y'all, it's 10:30 at night. I needed to record this right now or it wasn't getting recorded, and then Indie Week would have already been ruined on day 2. So please forgive me. Like I said, I'm not feeling this look, but maybe we're just here to show you guys inspiration, not necessarily for you guys to judge me on my looks, right? So let's just go ahead and start. I'm gonna go in with my Sigma E40 and I'm gonna go into this shade right here, and it's called Bumblebee. Oops. And this is the brightest yellow in the palette. And what I'm gonna do is basically just put this right under my eyebrow, kind of as a brow bone highlight. Okay, so hopefully my camera is picking up the color. It's bright, but it's not like uber bright, so it's not like the Sugar Pill Buttercup cake. Next, what I'm gonna do, just to kind of transition down to the next color, I'm gonna go into mustard, which is right here, and I'm gonna put that, I'm gonna use the same brush, put it on the side so it's a little bit smaller, and go right at the bottom of Bumblebee. And it's not going to be a dramatic increase in color, because honestly these two yellows on my complexion look exactly the same, but it's still going to be a slow gradient to the orange. And then next, what I'm going to do is go into peach right here. It's like a pinky peach, honestly, as it suggests, and that's going to go right in the same section that I put mustard. And I like this as a transition for when I put down oranges, because it honestly has an orange undertone, but it is light like a peach. I don't know how to explain it. Okay, and we're just gonna blend. Okay, and then you can see, can you see? So then you can see, hopefully, the nice gradient that is building. Next, what did I do? Next, I went into taffy right here. So I went into taffy, and that went right under peach. And this is just a slightly darker orange. I would say this is more of a true orange shadow. And I pretty much just covered up peach with this shadow. Like I said, I put peach down basically as a transition, and I'm just gonna go right back in with the same brush and peach and just blend out taffy. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see what's going on, the nice blend that we're getting. I am going to kind of brush off on my jeans really quickly, go into Bumblebee just to make sure that we don't lose that yellow. That gives you a real true gradient, like a sunset eye, because this palette just screams sunset eye to me. And then what I did is took an E25, which is a Sigma brush, and I went into Rose right here, and I put that all over my lid. The good thing about this brush is that you can use it both to pack color on, but also to blend color out. So this brush is really a true multitasking brush, and I use it in that way. And I'm just going to keep packing until I get to my satisfaction. And then we're going to blend with the same brush and the same color Rose. And you see how the gradient's just nice and good? So now what I'm going to do is just get a smaller brush and go into taffy and just hit my inner corner. Because as I did in my last video, I neglect that inner corner of color. I'm just going to kind of do some tweaks. Okay, and that's pretty much the look. It's a pretty quick look. What I did to get the liner, I went back into this palette and I cut out a line with what I'm using now as concealer, and it's this Physicians Formula foundation. It's the Healthy Foundation in DN3. So Ulta played me, made me think that was my shade. It's not my shade. And then I put Yay on top. So what I'm probably gonna do is speed this part up just so that you guys can see what I do, because this is not a normal technique for me. What I'm gonna do is take this Wet n Wild angled brush. I'm just gonna dip a little bit of product from the applicator and just draw on a line. So that's the liner. I like this liner a lot better than this liner, and they're completely different. Okay, so what I need to do is I'm gonna go off camera really quickly and just make this liner the same as this one, or at least attempt to, and then I will be right back. Alrighty, y'all, so I went ahead and did the liner and kind of fixed them as best as I could. I also went ahead and finished this eye. I realized that I did not have that eye finished, so I went ahead and did it, and now I'm going to show you what I did. I did go ahead and put my black liner in my waterline, and now it's time to actually finish out that lower lash line. So I'm going to do a mix of the two purples. I'm going to go into Yay and Rocky. Rocky is the deepest purple in this palette, deepest color overall, and we're just going to go back and forth between these two shades and blend out that black on my lower lash line. Okay, and then I'm going to use this BH Cosmetics brush, and this is the number 8 from the Marble collection. What I'm going to do is go into Rose, which is that color I put in the crease, and I'm just going to blend out, not on the crease, on the lid, and I'm just going to blend out that purples, those purples. Okay, and next I'm going to go into Taffy. Okay, and last I'm going to go into Bumblebee. And there you go. Now what I'm going to do is do my inner corner highlight. And I actually used, I don't even know if this is a highlighter or a blush or what it is. It's a highlighter. It's from Sydney's Grace and it's called Pumpkin Spice. So I'm assuming it's limited edition. I honestly do not know. I did not put any thing to fix this, and I just lathered it right in my inner corner. I thought this would go perfectly with this look. It's kind of a sunset-y look, and so it has, you know, the actual sun in the corner, and then it gets darker towards the outside. So I thought it kind of made sense. I'm just going ahead and doing a second layer for this eye. And I do get a little fallout because I didn't wet it. So just using that Eddie Funkhauser brush again. And yeah, that is the finished look. I am going to put mascara on, and then we will come back to do some thoughts and give you the more professional swatches. So give me 1 second. Alrighty guys, so I am back and this is the final look. I am gonna zoom in just one more time so that you guys can get a full look at my eye look, and then yeah, let's get into those final thoughts. Alrighty guys, so now it is the final thoughts to give you guys on the Liquid Lash Spice palette. This palette screamed to me. Online, I will say that it appeared more of a red toned palette. I did not realize, it might have just been my lack of paying attention, but this bottom row is clearly a purple row. This middle row is clearly an orange and yellow row. And then this top row is like, these are reds, and then these are pinks and some more oranges. So honestly, purchasing this palette, I really did think it was going to be an all red palette, and I was stoked. But I'm not mad at this color scheme. I think this definitely is unique in my collection, and it will have a place in my collection. For the formula, I like the formula. Would I tell you to purchase this palette is the main reason for doing this review. And honestly, I don't know. There are a lot of these colors on my complexion run together. They're basically the same. So for instance, peach and salmon, basically the same. All of these reds, basically the same. These two purples, basically the same, and then the other purples, these two, and then these two, basically the same. So for me, they definitely could have curated this palette a little bit better, and dropped it down to maybe even a 9-pan palette. I think that would have been a better curated palette, because you could have had one of the pinks, one of the mid-tone oranges, a more brighter, deeper orange, had maybe 2 reds, a lighter purple, and then a deeper purple, and called it a day. I think you definitely could have like gotten rid of half of this palette and used the other half, and of course put a red over here. So in my opinion, would I say you should purchase this palette? I don't think you should run out to get this palette. If you're interested in this palette, knowing what I've told you, and you still want to get it, by all means. I ended up purchasing this palette for £34.95, so almost 40 pounds. And in USD, I want to say that's pretty much around $50. So for me, $50 for basically a 9-pan palette, not really worth it. Although I am happy I tried it. The formula is good. It's blendable, it's pigmented, you can see it on my eyes, you can see the nice gradient that I have. But at the same time, did I need what? So this is 2 9-pans, so did I need 18 shadows to do something that a 9-pan palette could have done? No. So yeah, that's kind of how I feel about this palette. Like I said, the pigmentation's good, it's blendable, it lasts on my eyes, but it's just one of those things. I did not need 18 shadows when I could have just gotten 9. You know what I mean? So that's the biggest thing for me. And yeah, I don't think I really have anything else to say. What I'm gonna do is now switch over to the more professional swatches, and then yeah, let's get to those professional swatches. enjoyed this review and tutorial using the Lick and Lash Beauty Spice Palette. I think this will be, well, so far this is my more so when it comes to this palette. So far this is the one I would definitely recommend, the Give Me Glow, over this palette. And yeah, I really don't have very much to say. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial and this review, and definitely comment down below if you've tried this brand, if you love the palette, if you can see the gradients in the same colors that I can't see. Please let me know. Also, feel free to give this video a thumbs up. I really would appreciate it. Feel free to subscribe if you're interested in seeing the rest of Indie Week. And yeah, I think that is all that I have for you guys today. It's been real. Peace.